Thank you, and good evening to everybody. Thank you for joining us tonight, and especially a big heartfelt thank you to our speakers tonight, whom I'm really looking forward to hearing your perspective on such a fascinating topic. What I would like to share a little bit is about the peace philosophy of the founder of our organization, Dr. Hak Ja Han Moon, whom we lovingly call Mother Moon. And, her take on religion and spirituality is very unique and very refreshing. And one of the things I really appreciate about her peace philosophy. I have her memoir here, The Mother of Peace. And this is where a lot of her, experiences of trying to build a more peaceful world come out. And one of the things she talks about is that actually religion is fundamental in our society today. I will say my generation is starting to question and to step away from religion and spirituality, feeling like it's not necessary. Mother Moon talks about, she uses the Korean word jonggyo, which is made up of Chinese characters which mean fundamental and teaching. This is the Korean word for religion, jongyo. What an interesting idea. It's a fundamental teaching. And while I do acknowledge that some religion and some practices have really taken us away from the true essence of religion, it's important to get back to that true essence. Mother Moon says that our world houses many religions and says, what should these religions teach? Religions must first teach the truth of God. I do not simply mean that God exists, I mean about our relationship with God. And I love that. And that's why religion and spirituality are essential, because without this space to connect with our spiritual existence and our essence, we're not able to understand the fullness of who we are and why we were created. One of the other points that Mother Moon talks about when she talks about religion and spirituality is that it is a training ground for a peaceful world. Now, this is interesting because, certainly religion has been used for ulterior motives, but the idea that we need a place to come to train our inner selves to become more strong and harness our conscience and our ability to tell what's good and what's bad, and to be able to make more informed decisions in our family and in society. It's a beautiful idea that that's what the purpose of religion and spirituality are. Certainly, our world today desperately needs more of that kind of space. And it may mean that our current houses of worships and practices may need to evolve to welcome a changing world, but the essence is still truly, truly needed at this time. Mother Moon says that it seems ironic, but the ultimate goal of religion is to create a world where there is no religion in the sense of religion being a repair shop. I love that idea. It means that you can come as an imperfect person and use your spiritual practice, use your religious practice to become better. And the third point that I wanted to bring up about Mother Moon's peace philosophy is that instead of seeing the divisions between religion and spirituality and feeling there's some conflict there, Mother Moon really pushes the idea that there are universal spiritual values that are shared amongst all of these practices, and that these values are the singular most important pathway we have to restore society's moral compass. We are certainly seeing a decline in religion and a decline in morality in our modern times. And so it's now more than ever important to recognize these shared universal spiritual values between religions and spiritual practice to be able to harness our strength together and make a space to honor the importance of these basic fundamental values. Instead of seeing the differences between one another, we can see the similarities. Now, I know each of the women who are sharing today have had their own journeys with this area, and I'm truly excited to hear from each of you what you have learned and the wisdom you've gained as a spiritual person and a religious person. So I will hand it back to our moderator today, Adia, and I'm looking forward to hearing this wonderful forum today. Thank you.
Thank you, President Kaylee. All right, so let's get on with tonight's seminar. I will introduce our next speaker, which is Hara Aljaberi. Hara Aljaberi is a career advisor at Gateway Community College who brings a diverse academic background and personal experiences to her role. Originally from Iraq, she faced identity challenges and embraced her Muslim faith upon moving to the United States at a young age. With a bachelor's degree in design studies and Arabic studies minor, along with a master's degree in psychology, she navigates cultural differences with a unique perspective. Beyond her professional role, Hara actively volunteers in her local youth Muslim community, promoting understanding and unity. She explores various places of worship, fosters connections, and bridges cultural gaps. Committed to diversity and inclusivity, she has been a proud member of WFWP for about 2 years, contributing her passion for career guidance to create a supportive and inclusive community. Please welcome to this virtual stage, Hara Aljaberi.
Thank you very much for the warm introduction, Adia. Can everyone hear me? Okay, sorry, I was having technology issues earlier and I'm recovering from a sore throat. So I will try to speak as clearly as possible. But first off, I'm very honored to be part of such a great panel today. This is as engaging and as educating for me as it is for everyone else. Coming from the Muslim faith, I was born into it. Being born into a faith is you're prescribed a role already, and you're expected to navigate things accordingly. But I've faced the challenge of moving through different societies. So I had to really question myself and see where I stand as I grew up here in the United States among people who were looking different than me. So it took me time to really learn more about my faith and see the value of it, really, and the importance of having a religious identity in this world, especially at a young age. We get when we are younger, we feel like we don't need religion, we don't need any moral guidance. We live our life day to day, but setbacks and challenges in life typically will bring us back to God and to spirituality. So that has played a very concrete role in my life. The great thing about my faith is I'm reminded of it every day, starting off from my dress. As you know, I wear the hijab, which is the headscarf. This is a required garment upon women of faith in the Islamic tradition. The purpose of this scarf is to protect a woman's dignity and also serves as a reminder to focus on the inner beauty and the inner knowledge versus the exterior of the individual. Also, it's a more of a devotion to God, because this is a reminder every day that I'm preserving myself and saving myself for God ultimately. And it's also known as a representation of my faith, so I can be recognized among my community out in the on the streets or anywhere else. People are able to connect with me or identify me. So this is the great benefit of being able to wear my religion or my faith every day. In addition to that, what really grounds me in my faith is my daily prayers. In the Muslim tradition, we are required to pray 5 times a day, as many of you may know. And with that, there are set times that you have to pray throughout the day. The expectation is that you have to drop everything that you're doing wherever you are, unless obviously you have, dire reasons not to pray, or you're sick or, elderly, then, you have your exceptions. However, the expectation is that you drop everything and face the direction of Mecca, which is our holy site. Mecca is located in Saudi Arabia, and this is where many Muslims go to pilgrimage every year. This is where the birthplace of Islam took place. So this is why we have to face Mecca when we pray. Everyone around the world prays the same prayer, regardless of background, regardless of color, creed. They all pray the same prayer in the same words. And it's in the Arabic language. So the challenge for people who do not speak Arabic, because Arabic is the origin of Islam, it's the original text was written in Arabic. So the requirement is that everyone needs to learn Arabic in order to be able to pray. So in that regard, individuals will pray in Arabic fully, and then at the end, you can offer your own personal prayers in your own language. However, the prescribed prayer is in Arabic. So it gives you a sense of unity, that knowing that people all over the world are praying the same prayer, and taking time from their daily work and school and other obligations to set aside time for God, and for self-reflection and for appreciation. So this really helps me stay grounded, and also builds my faith up, because without that, I feel like many of us would probably put our faith on the back of our mind if we don't make it a priority every day. And this helps also guide my conversations, guide my way of approaching individuals, whether it's in the workplace or in society, being reminded of my faith every day. And sorry if I took too much of my time.
Not at all. Not at all. Thank you so much, President Kele, and put in the comments what a beautiful way you expressed when you were talking about the hijab, how you wear your religion. I believe that's what you were what Kele was talking about. And I wrote some notes too, and I really do agree with that it's very beautiful symbol of your religion, that it's something that people can see and kind of connect to you with, and something I never actually really thought about too. You had a lot of wonderful points and insights. Thank you so much for sharing, Hara. And after our second speaker, we will do a little roundtable discussion as well. So thank you. And I'm going to bring up our next speaker, which is Kim Andrews, spiritual leader of Unity, Saxe, Texas. Kim Andrews has had a diverse professional career across various industries, including fitness and wellness, training and development, and investigating federal employment discrimination complaints. In 2018, she took on the role of spiritual leader at Unity, Saxe in Saxe, Texas. It was during this time that she realized she had developed a modality of skills over 3 decades that transformed her own life from one of chaos and feelings of unworthiness to a state of peace and self-mastery. Kim's ministry expanded to helping others find inner peace through her healing modality, and she initiated a movement called 8945 for Peace. Central to her approach is the belief in the power of transformational storytelling, deep sharing, and fully mourning losses. She advocates that individuals can navigate emotional change challenges, transcend crises, and discover hidden treasures beneath the pain. Since 2013, Kim has been leading sacred sharing groups, coaching individuals in the art of transformational storytelling, and speaking to both large and small groups about grief and loss. She also conducts an ongoing bi-monthly online grief support group. Her work encompasses various modalities, including transformational storytelling, sacred sharing groups, spiritual community building, workshops, and public speaking. Kim's mission is to guide those who are ready to step off the emotional roller coaster and create lives filled with grace and ease. Please welcome to the virtual stage, Pastor Kim Andrews, to share her insights.
Oh, Pastor Kim, please unmute yourself. There we go. Hello, everyone. So I was raised Catholic, and one of the things I'm very grateful for is that my parents did give us a fundamental teaching of religion and a practice of religion. We went to church every single Sunday, and I remember that from being a very little girl. And I carried that through my adult life and eventually found a different spiritual path called unity. And what I love about unity is that it helped me in my 30s and 40s to really live a different way. For me, in the beginning, religion was something I did on Sundays. And then after service was over, the rest of my life happened. And I think what's important, and I think this is why I love Mother Moon's philosophy and her keys for having a peaceful world, is that it's important that we live our faith. It's important that we are doing the things that we talk about, doing the things that we say we believe in, and rolling that into how we are in relationships, how we are at work, how we are at play, when we're with our families, through every single thing that we do. And the unity principles help me to do that. Like it was related in my bio, I grew up in a very quite dysfunctional family. My parents did their absolute best when they came into their marriage, but my mother came from quite a bit of trauma in her family of origin. My father, I'm not quite as knowledgeable about what he went through in his early days, but in their 62 years of marriage, they were never happy. And that, of course, overflowed into our home life. And so as a result, I grew up as a young woman, very unsure as to my worth and really not knowing how to be in relationship with people in a healthy way. Of course, I had that religious background, but for me, that all seemed kind of disjointed from the rest of my life. It was there. It was a place of comfort for me. It was a place where I could go to and find some measure of peace, but it was hard for me to carry that into my daily living because I just didn't understand how all of the teachings, how the scripture, how the spiritual principle related to me and my problems and what I had to deal with on a regular basis. And I think that's probably where religion and spirituality are kind of going wrong these days. So my job, I think, and I think the job for each of us is to find, how do I bring God into my living? And that's what I started to do. One of the most pivotal things for me was daily meditation. That is my time for prayer. That is my time to sit in solitude and to have an experience of God first thing in the morning, and to be able to know that no matter what is going on in life, no matter what's happening in the outside world, that there is a place of peace, somewhere to go to where I have access to answers, where I have access to something that is greater than me, but also is me as well. So in unity, we believe that we are innate divine expressions, that everything that God is, I am also. And that was pivotal for me in changing my self-worth and helping me to evolve my self-worth. Because once I could see myself as a child of God, it changed everything for me. Absolutely everything for me. I showed up differently in all aspects of life once I knew that. I started to look at people differently. I started to love people even though I didn't know them or understand them. If you seem to be much different than me, then I still knew that you, as a child of God, that we are joined and we are one in this God consciousness. And that as a result, I have a certain respect and a love for you. And that rocked my world in the beginning. It changed everything. And it especially changed how I was in intimate relationships. It is the core of my marriage now. So, I was really on a journey in discovering myself. And I believe, this commandment, in Mark chapter 12, we are to love the Lord your God with all your heart and all your soul and all your mind and all your strength, and then love your neighbor as yourself. So I am to love each one of you because you are also me. And we are one within this God consciousness. We are one within all of this beautiful world that God has created. And I think that sounds good. And yet, I think what people are yearning for now, because I know I was, and this has been my journey the last few decades. What does that look like on a daily basis? What does that look like when I'm at work? What does that look like when I find myself in a difficult situation and I am in a conflict with somebody? How do I show up as love? How do I show up as that innate divine expression? And most of what we do in my spiritual community is that. I don't just talk on Sunday and leave people there. We have discussion groups and we have Zoom calls during the week because people want to know, how do I bring all of this that I say I believe, how do I bring that into my living? And how does that help me solve my problems? And again, I think that's where we have started to go awry. That's where things have started to go wrong here in our society, no matter what country we're in, and in relationships between countries, because we need to bring our spirituality, our religion into the daily living. And that it becomes so much more than, okay, I can quote scripture at you, I can tell you what I think you should be doing, I can point out the ways that you're not living that are not in the ways of God, or that are not loving, that are not peaceable. But then if I don't help you with those situations that come up, and if we don't talk about how the rubber meets the road, then we are all lost. And really all we're doing is throwing around smoke and mirrors. And most people don't, there's nothing to do with that. And I think that's why perhaps religion is feeling like it's becoming irrelevant. So, my life journey has really been and will continue to be about, how do I live my spiritual principles? How do I live the commandments? How do I show up as love and peace all the time, even in the most difficult situations, even with those who I have judged as hard to love? And it is no small task. And yet, I believe with daily spiritual practice, my meditation helps me get there. That means that when I go back into my quiet time in the morning, that I start to hear and know what is my next step, if there is a next step within a particular circumstance. I know that I can turn to God for everything, and that when I ask a question, I will get an answer. Knock, and the door will be opened. Ask and you shall receive. Are we living that? When you hit a problem, are you going to that? Are you asking a question and waiting for the answer? And when you get the answer, are you heeding what you're hearing? In the beginning, one of my challenges was I was hearing and I went, oh, that doesn't make sense. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. And then I would do what I thought was right. And a lot of times things didn't go right, or they went kind of right. And then I would remember, I was inspired in my prayer time to do something different. I'm going to try that next time. And every single time I heeded the word that I received during my prayer time, everything went beautifully. In fact, it went far better than I could have imagined. And that's why I love what the work that Mother Moon is doing. She is about living the word. And she exemplifies that. She not only talks it, she walks the talk. I'm also reading her book, and it is extremely inspirational. So I hope everybody will pick up her book and find the rich treasure that is in there and start to use her as an example, as one of our icons as we step forward in life. Because, I certainly am. I certainly am.
Beautiful, wonderful. Thank you so much, Pastor Kim. Definitely you shared some nuggets when you were speaking too. I wrote down, and even President Kayla wrote in the comments, how do I bring God into my living? You kept asking that and bringing that forward. How do I bring spirituality into my daily living? I think that is a question that we should ask ourselves all the time. And for you, it looks like your daily spiritual practice, like you mentioned, meditation. For me, it is, I agree. I find the same, like having that time in the morning with God one-on-one, playing some soft, calming music to really get me focused, really helps set my day and create that foundation. And I think that's so beautiful. So I'm going to bring both of you two up on stage. I don't think we have our third speaker this evening, so we can go ahead and have our roundtable discussion for the rest of this webinar. And, in the beginning.
Hello, I am here. This is
oh, you are. Okay.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
I'm sorry. Okay, wonderful. Let me go ahead and introduce you, and then we can bring you up. Okay. All right. Thank you everyone for being so flexible this evening. There's a lot going on. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and bring up our final speaker. She's here, she's present. Her name is Hopi Tewa Elder Percy Ami, Ambassador for Grandmother Educators, author, and speaker. Hopi Tewa Elder Percy Ami is a respected member of the Hopi Tewa tribe based in Walpi, Arizona. She is an ambassador for grandmothers, actively involved in cross-cultural learning and addressing critical issues such as suicide prevention, missing and murdered Indigenous women awareness, and anti-fracking initiatives in Arizona. As an educator, she teaches classes on self-care, self-awareness, and tackles lateral violence in Native communities. Additionally, she volunteers with the Phoenix Indian Center, emphasizing her commitment to health and wellness. LD Percy's dedication to positive change is evident in her book, Butterfly Prayers, where she shares wisdom and advocates for awareness. She received the Her Story Award from the Women Federation for World Peace, USA, in 2022 for her exemplary service, healing, education, and upliftment of Native American communities and others worldwide. Elder Percy Ami has also recently starred in the film Touch the Waters. Please welcome to this virtual stage, Hopi Elder Percy Ami.
Okay, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, yeah, I'm having technical difficulties too. I'm on the road actually, so I need to do a meet and greet in one of the communities here in Arizona. But I very briefly want to talk about the topic of spirituality and religion. And in our way of life, in the Hopi way of life, there is no division. And there's a missing component that spirituality and religion is life. It's the way you conduct your life. It's not something outside of you. It's everything inside of you. And the way that we honor our spirit is through religious practices. I meet so many people that are on a spiritual journey, and sometimes I want to stop and say, why are you journeying looking for a spirit? The spirit already exists in you. Your job is to bring that spirit forward. There is part of it is part of our lives. And in our way, in the Hopi way, we honor everything. There isn't one particular creator for us. We have deities that represent everything in the world. Um, there are deities for the sun, for the moon, for the sand, for the lizards, for the trees, for the animals. And it's all who is designated through their clanship that is responsible for taking care of that. So everything is dependent on everybody in our tribe taking responsibility for what they have been assigned through their bloodline. So it's and and this is our religion. We have ceremonies in which we are right in the middle of our winter ceremonies right now, and this is basically our purification time. It's when it's in alignment with the seasons. We're coming out of winter and we're starting to go into spring. We've just gone to purification where we let the earth rest. We honor the earth so that now when spring comes, we awaken the earth and she starts to bring forth life. And that's what spring represents, the bringing forth of life. But this is also the time that we renew our own selves. We look at the things that didn't work previously, and now with this new beginning, we start to make a commitment of how we're going to move forward. And this is our religion. This is the way that we are committed to who we are. And we're very dedicated to the earth and the preservation of the elements of the earth. All our prayers are surrounded around the need for water. And it's done in everything that we do, in the music, in the dances, the way we conduct our life. Because we are desert people, we have to be very respectful toward the water so that nobody wastes any water. And of course, we're responsible for taking care of the earth. So this is all incorporated into the way that we believe. And that is how we represent our spirit. When we don't do those things, because we're told that our purpose as Hopi people is to create peace around the world. That's what our purpose is. That's what we were put here for. So when we don't live that the way that we're supposed to be, by being peaceful, by helping others, by being conscious of not just relationships with other people, but relationships with the environment, with the land, with the sky, with the everything. And we believe in that everything has life, everything. And anything that breathes air should be treated as a delicate part of the universe. And that's our religious. That's the way we practice our religion. And when we do that, then it takes care of our spirit. Then we can start to engage at a much different level. When we're in tune with our spirit. Our spirit is inside of us, and it's around our heart. A lot of times when you get too involved with religion, it goes to your head. So it's keeping a balance between the head and the heart. And so that's how we practice our spirituality, which is really our way of life, not our religion, but our way of life. And we don't have any written doctrines. We do it all through oral traditions. We follow a calendar of ceremonies, and it's not written down. We just know by what the moon and the sun tells us what we're supposed to be doing at this time. So that's all I have to say, and thank you.
Thank you so much, Elder Persiami. Thank you for your wisdom and your insights. If you have some time and if it's safe, we would like for you to join this roundtable discussion before we close for the evening. I want to again just bring up, there are some really great points. And so one of them is, I had mentioned in the beginning, is this decline that you're seeing in the influence of religion. And you're seeing people like in Christianity, leaving Christianity. A lot of young people are not resonating with any type of religion or maybe spirituality or going in different directions. I feel like a lot of youth today are very lost. They don't have a purpose. They're kind of, just everywhere at once. And Hara, you're a young person. You work with young people in the community too. So how do you, again, inspire young people to look within, to find this calling, to connect with God, to connect with Creator? We'll start with Hara, and then any of you other ladies can jump in on that.
Yeah, great question. So as a young person, and as I mentioned earlier, I've had my own personal struggles with religion and with my belief system. And, I've gone back and forth about my faith. However, ultimately, with enough reflection and meditation, like Kim mentioned, that led me to realize there is a sense of constant in my life, which is God. Everything else around me will change. Everything else in life will continue to change, but God will remain there regardless. So that's the only true being that I can count on, regardless of where I am in my life. And that's the reminder I give to friends, family, and the youth that I work with. So we do have, I am part of a youth organization here in Phoenix that strives to, right now we're facing, a big challenge among the younger generation where they're not seeing any value of attending any religious ceremonies or events. They feel like they are outsiders. Their voice is not heard. They're not considered. So we try to bring a lot of dialogue by providing speakers that are closer to their age, those who have more of a emotional knowledge as well, so more of a psychology background, because a lot of the youth today face a lot of mental health issues. And are not comfortable approaching their families or religious figures about them. So having someone who is open and knowledgeable in those areas to welcome them and discuss topics that they are actually facing today, instead of, the prescribed topics that we always hear among, at least in our community, the older generation usually has a lot of very repetitive topics, and this is what drives the youth away. So we're trying to be more conscious about what topics to bring up, and also make it more engaging, make it more fun. Religion does not have to be boring. It doesn't have to be very structured. It could be a way of life, but religion can be fun as well. So, have youth activities, have like recently, actually over the weekend, I just came back from a short retreat that I met a few girls on the internet through social media. At this age, this is how we meet. But I met a few girls of the Muslim faith on the internet. This one lady, she had created an organization for physically active women who enjoy hiking and the outdoors. And she brought them down to Sedona, Arizona, and Grand Canyon. And we took the time to go hike, enjoy the outdoors, discuss, the struggles that we've been facing among our families, our culture, our social identities, in a very safe space. And we felt like we were, all on the same wavelength because we were very close in age. And then we also took time to pray in the outdoors, pray in nature. So we did our our washing. We usually wash before we pray, and then sat and prayed, and then reflected on our experiences. So that was a great way to merge our hobby with the bigger picture, which is our spirituality and our religion. So integrating those kind of creative activities for youth, and also being mindful of what they're looking for and listening to what their needs are today, I think would help them in bringing them closer to spirituality and religion.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that. I agree. And good point about the whole mental health issue. A lot of times too, people will find or go to their pastor, go to their spiritual advisor for some mental issue, right? That they're not completely equipped to actually guide them in. So sometimes that could actually induce more trauma or more damage to that individual. So I like how you kind of married the two with bringing those experts in as well. So thank you. Pastor Kim, do you have anything you want to add?
Yes, I'm open about what life is like, my daily struggles, and how I apply spiritual principle to that, and how I use principle to solve what it is I'm dealing with. So, and that's what people resonate with. I think people these days are looking for somebody who's real, not somebody who sets themselves apart and says, "Oh, because I'm in ministry or whatever, I know so much more than you," or "I'm up here and you guys are down here." I'm living a real life too, and I have struggles and I have challenges on a regular basis. And I am using the same tools that I talk about in my Sunday messages. So I'm just open about what's going on in life, and how do I solve my problems? How do I live better? How do I find more peace, more joy, more richness in life? How do I how do I have more fun? Because I think I love what Hara said, that this is, a lot of people think if you're walking the path, that there's less joy in life. And yet I think there's so much more joy and richness in life now that I am immersed in my spirituality and I live my spirituality. But I think it's important to be real with people and let them know this is what happens during the day. This is what I ran into, and this is how I dealt with it. And try to leave something for people to use in their lives, something they can take home. Because again, if we are just talking about goodness in general, like it's something up in the air that has nothing to do with our lives, then people just feel disjointed from God. And God is in the details. God is in the everyday living. God is in the moment by moment by moment. And our work is to look for God there, to find God and bring God into our experience and in our doing, in our speaking, in our expressing, in our working, in our playing. And uh, and I think that's what people need. And I think that's what people are crying for. And I don't think it's just young people. I know 50, 60-year-olds, 70-year-olds who are feeling lost, isolated, and don't know what to do. And I think there's a lot of anxiety and a lot of hopelessness out in the world. And I think by bringing a message and tools for people to use and some honesty and authenticity about how to walk this path is what will make a difference.
Thank you. I think, yeah, I think the connecting thread between all three of you speakers is really bringing in the spirituality into your daily lives. You all expressed it very uniquely and beautifully. And I think that is what connects us all. But how, people, when we talk about religion, people are like, oh, it's this, you have to have faith, you have to believe in something that I cannot see, right? We are kind of an over intellectualized society. We have a lot of information thrown at us daily from everywhere. How do you really share your faith with other people in a way that, okay, well, you talk about this God. How do I bring this concept into reality? How can I bring God closer into my life? How can I really live my spirituality? What would you say to those individuals?
So I think the best way to show people and to talk about our path is to live the path. And then people can look at you, because I know other people like that, where I look at them and I say, oh, I want what she's got, whatever that is. I remember as a young woman doing that. And then, so in everyday conversation, I talk about God and my spirituality. because it is immersed in my daily life. So when I'm talking with the girls, when I'm out with friends, when I'm at dinner, then, sometimes spirituality, more often than not, spirituality will come up for me because it is intrinsic in my living. And I think when people start to hear that and they think, oh, this is not just about church. I don't have to be ashamed about it. I don't have to be careful about who I talk about God. I can be my spiritual self everywhere. And I think that's important. So yeah, I think people see an example and they're attracted to that. And I think that goes a whole lot further than just preaching at people.
Elder Percy, are you still on with us? I'm not sure. Okay.
Oh, we lost her.
I think we, yeah.
Yeah, I am still here. And I'm listening to what everybody's saying, and it's for me, it's kind of, we don't really have like a meeting place or something that we go to. It's not a church. I mean, we have our plaza and our kivas, and people just come together. We celebrate life. We celebrate the whatever is happening um, in our villages. So and when I'm working with the youth, there is this concept that there's a lot of judgment out there, and that religion brings in a lot of judgment. And so when I'm working with the young people, they feel like they have not been told the rules of the game, and they don't understand what the expectations are. So, and they don't even know where they belong. There's such an identity crisis going on in the world right now, especially with the youth, because just just the fact that there used to be racial divisions, but now the bloodline has crossed lines, and it's long. Which group of people do I belong to? So our youth are fighting with that, and it really affects their spirit of who they are, and then looking at what do I worship, and who do I send my prayers to. I mean, it's helping these children understand that there is no one way. And I've told many young people, I don't care if you worship a toothpick, as long as toothpick guides you to do no harm, to do good to one another, and to take care of the earth. To me, it doesn't matter what that representation of religion is. It's what it makes you do, and that you're solid in what you do, and you're truthful and you're honest, and it brings joy and laughter to you. My motto is always about laughter. Laughter is the essence of spirituality for me. If I can have a good belly laugh every day, I know that I'm connected to my creator. I know that life is good. And so it's all about that. And I that's what I teach, is that two strong medicines in the world. Number one, laughter. Number two, good, clean, healthy water. And that's kind of my religious belief. And I try to make sure that I live that example. And I tell people, if what you see in front of you is what you'll see behind closed doors, I'm no different than I am what side of the door I'm on. And you can call me on it anytime. Oh, that's not what you were teaching. But the main thing that I'm seeing with the elders and with the young people is this real need to find their boundaries and the consequences and the rewards. It's the basic to life. If you are being cruel and misbehaving and not taking care of yourself and others, then there's consequences for those actions. And don't blame anybody for those. This is what God, this is what Creator, this is what spirituality is all about. And I believe that's what we were sent here on earth to do, was to find out what our responsibility was. And then when we go to our next journey, we share that. And another thing is to let go of a lot of the trauma and drama that has happened in our lives and learn how to use that to build our spirituality and not to get caught up in what wasn't there in our lives, but to take that and to move forward. Thank
Love
you.
that.
Thank you so much. I wish we could go on a little longer. There's just, I have more questions and more comments and thoughts to share, but I want to thank you all, ladies, for sharing your insights and your wisdom and your experience with us this evening. Before I let you go, I have a couple of announcements to make. Our next Her Story award ceremony online will be March 9th. So every month we host a Her Story award for women peacemakers and leaders in the community who are doing exemplary work. For instance, Elder Percy Ami, she received one in 2022. And so we will have 3 new women to celebrate and honor on March 9th. So mark that on your calendar. Another date to mark on your calendar is the next seminar like this one for GWPN. The topic is Embracing Womanhood, the Final Frontier. So March is a really special month for women. It houses International Women's Day. It is Women's History Month. And the UN also has a commission on women during that month. So we, in honor of March being a month for women, we will host this amazing seminar, which I hope you can all join in on. It will be at the same time, 5 p.m. Pacific or 8 p.m. Eastern. And last but not least, if you love what we do here, if you loved this seminar, if you loved meeting these women and these discussions, please consider becoming a member if you already are not one. It is very easy to do. The link to sign up will be in the chat box. We make it really easy. There are different tiers, so whatever works for your budget, please choose that and join this amazing tribe of women all over the country who, as you can see, their hearts are just bursting with so much joy and love and connection, and are doing and sharing that in their community. So I want to encourage you to become a member. I want to encourage you to join us again next month for another seminar like this one. And I also want to encourage you to have a great evening. So with that, I want to say good night and thank you. Bye-bye.